Hi guys, my name's Tiffany Paganello, and today I wanted to discuss a topic that weighs pretty heavy on my heart, and that is the drug abuse and overdose from adolescents and young adults. In 2019, I lost two of my friends from drug overdose. Nick passed away in January from a heroin overdose, and then 6 months later, we lost Mikey. I remember standing at Nick's funeral and looking around and saying, why isn't Mikey here? Mikey should be here. And I even asked people, why isn't Mikey here? And the only answer we got was, because he couldn't handle it. Right then and there, almost all of us knew that we would be attending another funeral not too long in the future. And then once again, 6 months later, there we are standing right in front of a Mikey's casket. Now this is a problem. Our children are dying from drugs that are easily brought into their high schools. 19.7 million young adults, and when I say young adults, I mean from 12 to 24, were not only using drugs in 2017, but were addicted and having severe abuse substance issues. The next year, 2018, they had 5,000 young adults, still from the age of 12 to 24, die from drug overdoses. And these drugs, 98% of them are from heroin and prescription pills. And when I say prescription pills, I'm talking Valium, Adderall, Xanax, Ritalin. There's a lot of benzos. There's a lot of different drugs that are coming into these high schools. 87% of prescription drugs are coming out of high schools. So that really puts in perspective how the addiction is starting young, and if it doesn't end shortly, it will become a lifelong issue. Now, Florida in 1993 noticed that they were having a severe opiate epidemic, and that's when they put in the Marchman Act of 1993. And so that was implemented so that parents and legal guardians could put in a petition and get their child put into involuntarily programs that were for rehab centers, detox, therapeutic centers. These were all for people who were addicted to drugs and alcohol. And a lot of these programs are open door programs. So you don't have to worry about your child being locked up in a rehab, locked up with no phone, no social interaction. They're coping with new ways through these rehabs. Another thing is that they're only in these rehabs for 90 days. Now, there is a possibility they could get an extension. The way you can get an extension is you, as a guardian, once again have to fill out that petition for an extension, and that extension could also last for another 90 days. Another thing I want to point out about this Marchman Act is that all treatments included are not free, yet are covered by insurance. All of them are. And Florida specifically has a state-funded program for people going through the Marchman Act. So if they couldn't afford the treatment, it's not for free, but they could help with prices, pay co-pays every once in a while. Now, another concern that people have about the Marchman Act is my child going to get a job after this? Well, that shouldn't be a worry because the whole program and process is confidential. They're not going to be mad at you for getting help. This isn't a criminal record. The government is simply trying to help you through your sickness and addiction. Now, there's a couple steps to go through this process. Now, the first one is you have to file it, and you have to file it in person. You have to have an ID, and you also have to have the address of the person that you're petitioning against. Now, you can bring a lawyer with you, but that may cost you around $7,500 to $8,000. It's not, necessary, but it may be useful depending on how serious this addiction or disease is to your child. In 2016, they actually made a change that you don't have to be a parent or legal guardian, though. You actually just have to be an adult who also isn't using and has pretty good knowledge of this person's substance abuse. Now, secondly, after you testify, you're going to be asked some questions, and pretty specific questions. They're going to ask you dates and times and actions that make you believe that this person truthfully needs to be in these rehab centers, because they don't want to just put away somebody that doesn't have strong evidence against them. Even though it's still not criminal, you're putting somebody through this process. Now, the judge has 10 days to either grant or say, you know what, this isn't worth it, and pushes it off his table. Now, if the judge does accept your hearing, you go into your hearing. Now, you are required to testify against the person that you are petitioning against, and the person you're petitioning against has to go through a 3 to 5 day assessment period. This is going to be mental assessments, even physical assessments, things dealing with why they're there and how severe is their issue. Now, lastly, the judge will come to a decision, and they can either do 90 days or below. Now, a lot of people also question, is this even effective? Because, the saying, you can't help somebody who doesn't want help their own. But a lot of people actually say this does help, because 51% of rehab patients stay in there by themselves anyways, and 20% of that stays clean. So if we got 100% of people to stay in, then we could get roughly about 41% of the population of drug abusers clean, and they typically stay clean for about 5 years consecutively. Now, people are concerned, it's really hard for you to realize that you have a problem yourself. And that's why 1/3 of the people in rehab centers are actually put in by somebody else. They didn't put themselves there. Now, a lot of people also are scared because the fear that the court instills in you if you don't comply. If you don't comply with what they have with the Marchman Act and your involuntary treatments, you can be sent to jail on drug charges. Now, a lot of people say, well, what can I personally do to help the Marchman Act become a nationwide thing? And a lot of people just don't know about it. So if you educated yourself, educated other people, there's petitions to sign to help this become a 50 state instead of 37. Here's also some advocating groups that help you not only set up petitions, but go through the process of filing it, and they not only deal with the legal aspect, but they actually help you emotionally as well. So there are some support groups, and there's just some programs that sincerely just want to help you through that process. The only thing those people really ask out of those programs is just donations and volunteer work, because that's really what helps. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I really hope that you guys take in the Marchman Act and think that this too can help if you guys have friends passing away. Make it stop.